Naveen Jain.
All right. Is it working? Good. Awesome. So let me start about, there has never been a time in the human history where you and I can make a difference, where you and I can solve the problems that were only solved by the nation states. And I'm here to tell you, there is an echo there for some reasons there. I'm here to tell you that entrepreneurs are going to be the next superpower. So why do I believe the entrepreneurs can be the next superpowers? Because for the first time, individuals are capable of doing things that could only be done by the nation states, or for that matter, the superpower. As you know, the Moon Express, the company that started 10 years ago, is the only company in the universe that has a permission to leave Earth orbit and land on the moon. And when we land on the moon later this year, imagine that not only we become the first company to do so, we actually become the fourth superpower. And that is an amazing thing to happen, where you can go out and do things that people could never dream about. And I can tell you why go to the moon. And people say, you know, there's so many problems on planet Earth. Why would you want to waste all that energy on going to the moon? And there are a couple of things I could tell you, that any time in life you're given a choice of taking this or taking that, you know what you do? You take both. So there is no reason you can't go to the moon and solve the problem on Earth, and that's exactly what I decided I was going to do. So not only we have a company that's going to the moon, I started a second company, and the goal there is no other than another moonshot. Imagine living in a world where illness is a matter of choice, not a matter of bad luck. Imagine if no one in the world living on this planet Earth ever has to be sick. How do you do that? I'm here to tell you that for the first time in the human history, we are able to understand what makes us sick. And it is nothing new. The beauty of the thing is, this is something we knew thousands of years ago, what makes us sick. Go back 2,000 years ago, and the Hippocrates says, all disease begins in the gut. One man's food is another man's poison. Let food be thy medicine, let thy medicine be the food. What if we could understand what is going on in people's gut? And I started a company called Viome, and it's really interesting is that as an Indian, you can never pronounce the word we. You just can't. So you start the name of the company that says Viome that you can't pronounce. But in case you're wondering, it's V as in Victor, I-O-M-E. And the beauty of the whole thing is, there's something here. Hey, do you want to play the video at the back, dude? Hit the play.
Have you ever wondered, why do these fad diets work for some people, but not others? Or they work only for a short time before they stop? Science may have finally found the reason why. This is the microbiome. Inside your gut, you are a host of 40 trillion microorganisms. In fact, you have more foreign cells in your body than human cells. And when you consider DNA, only about 1% of your body's gene expression is done by your human genes. The rest? Your unique microbiome. It's easy then to see why the microbiome is being linked to so many areas of health, including weight loss, diabetes, anxiety, depression, autoimmune diseases, and more. It's also the reason why a fad diet might not work at all for you, or work for a week or two, then stop when your microbiome gets out of balance. But how do you know if your microbiome is out of balance? And what can you do about it? That's where we come in. Viome is a team of scientists, physicians, and entrepreneurs. In just a few months, we've been featured in several major media outlets and business publications. Why? Because Viome not only tests your microbiome to learn how your body digests various foods, We also translate it into recommendations for food and nutrients that are just right for you. We use technology originally developed for national security at the Los Alamos National Laboratory. In fact, Viome is the only company in the world authorized to use this advanced technology. We'll show you what's really going on inside your gut, helping you lose weight, boost your natural immunity, and feel healthier. Our Viome app makes it easy to see your results and get personalized recommendations. You'll be shocked by which foods you should be eating and not eating. Forget those one-diet-fits-all fad diets. Viome recommends your perfect food. Also, Viome doesn't sell any food, supplements, or probiotics. We only recommend what's right for you. Listen to your gut. Are you ready to find out what your gut is trying to tell you? Then take a look at Viome. Learn more at viome.com.
That was a free ad in case you're wondering. Right. So seriously, on all seriousness, I was really fascinated by how do we solve the problem of healthcare, because it turns out that we have a pharmaceutical companies that have become the parasite on humanity. They want to keep the people sick. Our doctors want to keep the people sick. The hospital wants to keep the people sick. The insurance company wants you to be sick. And the pharmaceutical companies love it when you are sick, especially the chronic diseases. Because once you get a chronic disease, diabetes, obesity, depression, they have a customer for life. And I just started to think that even every single disease, you can name whatever you want, from Parkinson's to Alzheimer, and you don't have to take my word for it. Just Google Parkinson's and microbiome, and you will find that Parkinson's actually starts in your gut 15 to 20 years before you see the first symptom. The Alzheimer, depression, anxiety, autoimmune diseases, diabetes, obesity, including cancer. The Cleveland Clinic just published a research that shows the breast cancer is actually caused by the microbiome, not by the gene mutations. In fact, so much so that whether the cancer therapy works or does not work, that depends on your microbiome. So whether you do immunotherapy, anti-PD-1 drugs, whether it works or is completely ineffective, depends on your microbiome. Same thing with chemotherapy. When you do a chemotherapy, whether it works or it actually kills you, turns the chemotherapy drug into a toxin poison that is guaranteed to kill you, is actually depends on your microbiome. Interesting thing is, we as a society has waged a war against all these microorganisms because our Western medical system believed that somehow a body that is devoid of all bacteria and viruses is a healthy body. Little that they know that our body is a complete ecosystem in ourselves. The trillions and trillions of microorganisms that live in our gut. As a matter of fact, 99% of all the genes that are expressed in our body come from the microorganisms. They don't come from the human DNA. In fact, I would argue that most of who we are as a human is really controlled by our gut, but our microorganisms. So before I go and talk more about that, do you want to talk about the moon or you want to talk about the health? Health? Moon? Health? Which one? Both. Okay, that's a good answer. So I'm going to take just 2 more minutes on the health, and then I'm going to jump back on the moon, because I want you to be excited about all the possibilities that can happen. To me, solving the healthcare problem was big enough that I wanted to dedicate my life to solving that, because as soon as we solve the healthcare problem, I'm going to go on and solve the education problem, because the problems in the education are very similar to the ones that in the healthcare, which is, in both cases, the people believe the system is just not working and the system is broken, and it turns out neither the healthcare system is broken nor the education system is broken. They're doing exactly what they were designed to do. Our education system was designed to teach us skills, and we could use those skills for the rest of our lives. What's happening in the world of exponential technologies, it doesn't matter what skill you learn, it becomes obsolete every 4 to 6 years. That means by the time you graduate, the skill that you just learned is obsolete. In that case, the education system has to teach you learning to learn, not a unidisciplinary, but the multidisciplinary approach. And that problem can actually be solved because you don't need a teacher to become a tape recorder to do the things. You can learn all the knowledge that you want that can be personalized to each individual how they learn. And same way we can go out and just solve the problem of creating the abundance of energy, the abundance of food, and the abundance of water. All that means is once you get rid of the mindset of scarcity into the mindset of abundance, there is no problem that cannot be solved. As a matter of fact, today we fight over things that in fact could be in abundance. And people somehow believe that humans are greedy. It doesn't matter how much we have, we always want more, until you see the humanity here, the thousands of people in a room not fighting over the air, not fighting over the oxygen, because we believe it is in fact in abundance. Imagine if the energy was the next air. That could be in abundance. It is free for everyone, because every 90 minutes more solar energy falls on planet Earth than we use in the whole year. What if we can create the abundance of food that it becomes the next air, it is democratized and it's demonetized and it's free for everyone? What if everything that we value could be in abundance, that no one ever has to pay for anything that you desire because it's abundance, including the land that we value? The reason we believe the land is valuable, because we think it's in finite quantity. Because we believe we as humans can only live on planet Earth. Imagine the Earth is nothing but a pale blue dot in our own solar system. Our solar system is nothing but a tiny dot in our own galaxy. Our galaxy is nothing but a tiny dot in our universe, and our universe may be a tiny dot in this multiverse. So where is the scarcity of where we could live? It's only in our mind that we believe we as humans cannot live on the moon or Mars or Jupiter or Titan or Europa or any other place. People say, how can we live on the moon? Isn't there a lot of radiation? The answer is, yes, there is a lot of radiation, but the nature has already figured out how to live in high radiation. As a matter of fact, we find the radioactive nuclear waste, there are tons of bacterial organisms that live in the radioactive nuclear waste. Not only the nature has figured out how to protect itself from the high radiation, it has figured out how to actually use the radiation as a source of energy. So imagine if we can take a genetic material from these bacteria, use CRISPR in vivo to modify the human genes, then we can actually live on high radiation, and we can use the radiation as a source of energy. Instead of eating food, you'll be asking your honey, do you want to go out, take a walk, and get some radiation? No more pizza, right? When you go to the moon, you could obviously, why go to the moon? That's the question I was asking. The reason you go to the moon is not because it's easy, because it's a good business, right? The reason it makes a good business, because moon has 16 quadrillion worth of minerals. Things such as platinum grade material, rare earth elements, and the helium-3. And the helium-3 is one of the best resource for nuclear fusion. I understand we don't have the fusion reactors today, but we don't have the helium-3 either. So by the time we get the helium-3, there'll be the fusion reactor. As a great sports person, you play soccer or you play hockey, the fourth grader always follow the ball, and if you're a professional, you stand where the ball is going to be, not where the ball is. And that means you go where the puck is going to be, not where the puck is. And that's how you create the value. In fact, in the short term, we can just bring the moon rocks back, and we can completely replace the diamond industry just with a moon rock. Because remember, diamonds are not rare on Earth, and diamonds were never used to be the symbol of love and romance. It's only in the 1950s that De Beers made them a symbol of love and romance, right? Imagine we have had the romance with the moon for centuries. What if we can rekindle that romance by making a diamond a commodity? Everyone gives someone a diamond If you love her enough, you give her the moon. Don't promise her the moon, give her the moon, right? And when you give somebody a diamond, she gets up and says, are you trying to buy me? I thought you loved me, because if you loved me, you would have given me the moon, right? And the honeymoon becomes about taking your honey to the moon, not taking your honey to Hawaii, because there'll be honey Hawaii. That won't be honeymoon, right? So point is, there are so many possibilities of what one can do. All it takes is someone in this room to decide enough is enough, and we can go out and solve a problem, whether you're going to the moon or whether you are solving the healthcare problem. So coming back to the healthcare again, to me, what really, the reason I decided to go and focus on the healthcare was because we are spending the trillions of dollars every single year on our healthcare. The more money we spend on healthcare, the people are getting sicker and sicker. And the reason for that is very simple. Our modern lifestyle essentially is killing our gut bacteria. So whether you're eating the processed foods, or you're eating the glyphosate or the pesticides, or worse yet, the food that you're eating, you may think it's healthy, but it's actually unhealthy for you. So for example, I was trying to lose 10 pounds, and I was pre-diabetic, and everyone told me it's really easy. Cut down all the carbs, don't eat any starch, and start eating healthy, such as start eating spinach, avocado, oats. Don't eat any other grains like wheat, because they are poison for you. So I start following that diet. Interesting thing happened. The first few months I lost some weight. A year later, my weight is going up, and my blood glucose is exactly where it used to be and going up again. When I started Viome, I was the first guinea pig. And I did the test, and it turns out what the food I needed to be avoiding is spinach, avocado, oats, and lentils, and legumes, and tofu. Everything that I thought was healthy for me turned out was unhealthy for me. And the things that I needed to be eating was complex carbohydrate, the wheat, and everything else that I thought was unhealthy was actually healthy for me. So interesting thing is, it's very counterintuitive, because you and I are not alike. There is no universal healthy food. We as humans share 99% same DNA. And when it comes to our microbiome, less than 5% is common between the two people. And that's the reason why a diet that's healthy for one person is not healthy for another person. As a matter of fact, even the diet that's healthy for you today won't be healthy for you 3 months from now. Because as you change your diet, your gut bacteria is constantly evolving. Because when you eat certain things, it's feeding one type of bacteria. And when you keep feeding that, they become too much, and others starts to die, and then gets an imbalance. So the imbalance of the gut bacteria causes inflammation, and the inflammation, chronic inflammation, causes chronic diseases. So in fact, every single chronic disease has one root cause, which is chronic inflammation. And the chronic inflammation happens because you have an imbalance in the gut, and your immune system is not responding properly to it. You have a leaky gut. That food is going into the blood and getting the antibodies, and that's what's making you sick. So to me, the best thing was, what if we don't have to spend money curing the diseases after they have happened? What if you can prevent the diseases from happening in the first place? And that is the one reason why I decided this problem is big enough that I'm willing to dedicate my life to solving this problem. And that's why, at this point, I'm hoping that every one of you will join me in making that happen. Because to large extent, this problem can be solved. So we take all of the data that we learned from what's happening in your gut. We look at every single gene expression in your blood. We look at all of the metabolites that are communicating between your human body and your microbial ecosystem. And then we put the machine learning on top of that to tell you exactly what is going on. Unfortunately, to learn about every single person, because there is so much diversity, we need lots and lots of people to essentially use the service so it gets fine-tuned. In the last 3 months alone, we have 10,000 people that are already using our service, and every one of them tells us whether it's the acne that they had that's gone, or depression that's gone, or the anxiety they had, or the obesity they had, or the autoimmune disease they have. These are just the symptoms of the problem. We don't focus on curing the symptoms, we focus on curing the root cause, which is the inflammation in your gut. And once you fix that, all of the different diseases, they disappear. So all I'm trying to say is that if you can, if you think this problem is worth solving, I am willing to put my time and dedication to making it happen, but I can't do it alone. I need each one and every one of you to sign up for the service, because the more people who sign up for the service, more information we have how to solve the problem for the rest of the people. The first 10,000 people are helping themselves and helping everyone who comes after them or came before them. And if we as humanity comes together and can actually fix this problem, someday we're going to look back and say, we were the generation that once for all got rid of the chronic diseases, and we were the generation that made illness simply a matter of choice, not a matter of bad luck. And it can happen, but it will require all of us to come together. And the reason the pharmaceutical companies are relying on the fact that humans will never ever work together to solve any problem, and they're relying on the fact that they can continue to victimize us. They are relying on the fact that every time you're sick, you're helpless and hopeless, and they're going to keep taking advantage of you. And all it takes is all of us coming together and saying, screw them, we're going to fix this problem once for all. Thank you very much.
Woo!